Chapter 2: The Shadows Follow. The first sign that something was wrong came a few days after I left the Thompsons' house. I was sitting at my desk, trying to focus on my homework, when I heard a soft knock on my door. It was so faint that I almost missed it, but when I got up to check, there was no one there. I shrugged it off, assuming it was my imagination. That night, as I lay in bed, I kept hearing strange noises. Soft whispers echoed through the room, and shadows seemed to shift and move in the corners. I tried to convince myself that it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but the sense of unease was overwhelming. The next day, the knocking continued. It followed me from room to room, always just out of sight. I began to notice other things, too, glimpses of dark shapes in the corners of my vision, cold spots in the air, and an oppressive feeling of being watched. One evening, I heard the knocking at my bedroom door again. This time, it was more insistent, louder. My heart pounded as I approached the door and hesitated before opening it. There was nothing there, but the air felt thick with a malevolent presence. I realized that whatever had been haunting the Thompsons' house had followed me home. The rules I had barely understood were now a curse that I couldn't escape. I was being tormented by the same shadows and whispers that had plagued that old house. The following nights were a blur of fear and sleeplessness. The whispers grew louder, more distinct. I could almost make out words, but they were just beyond my understanding. The shadows seemed to grow bolder, moving closer, hovering at the edges of the light. One night, I heard a familiar sound, Lily's haunting song. It was faint, almost drowned out by the whispers, but unmistakable. The melody sent chills down my spine, and I realized with growing horror that the song was calling to the shadows, bringing them to life. I began to suspect that Lily was the key to all of this. Her singing had some sort of power over the shadows, and because I had heard it that night, I had become entangled in their curse. Mrs. Thompson had tricked me, using me to transfer the curse away from her family and onto me. Desperate for answers, I decided to confront the Thompsons. I needed to understand what was happening to me and how to break free. I drove to their house, the unease growing with each passing mile. When I arrived, the house looked as imposing as ever, casting long shadows in the fading light. Mr. Thompson answered the door, his expression guarded. "Jake, what are you doing here?" "I need to talk to you," I said, my voice trembling. "Something followed me home from your house. The shadows, the whispers. Lily's song. I can't escape them." Mr. Thompson's face paled, and he stepped aside to let me in. He led me to the living room, where Mrs. Thompson was sitting with Lily and Maximum. They all looked at me with a mix of guilt and fear. "We were hoping this wouldn't happen, Mrs. Thompson said softly. "But we knew it was a risk." "What are those things?" I demanded. "Why are they following me?" "It's a curse, Mr. Thompson explained. "An old, dark curse that haunts our family. Lily's singing can summon the shadows, and once someone hears it, they are marked. We thought we could keep it contained, but it seems to have latched onto you." "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, anger and fear boiling inside me. "We hoped the rules would protect you, Mrs. Thompson said, her voice breaking. "But we were wrong. The curse is stronger than we thought." "How do I get rid of it?" I asked desperately. "I can't live like this." Mrs. Thompson exchanged a worried glance with her husband. "There might be a way," she said hesitantly. "But it's dangerous. The shadows won't let go easily." "I'll do whatever it takes," I said, determined. "I can't keep living in fear." Mr. Thompson nodded. "We'll help you, Jake. But you need to be prepared for what lies ahead. The shadows will fight back, and you need to be strong." As I left the Thompsons' house that night, I knew my battle with the shadows was far from over. The whispers and shadows had followed me home, but now I had a glimmer of hope. With the Thompsons' help, I would find a way to break the curse and reclaim my life. The fight was just beginning, and I was ready to face whatever horrors lay ahead.